Bernie the boxer will be 45 in February. 45 in February. We do not know Bernie the boxer from fighting at all. We don't know him. He fought at 126 pounds. So all of the hate towards Haney and all these other fighters, these are guys that he wouldn't even have been able to compete against because he was too small. Look at Bernie the boxer's highlights. He wouldn't have beat anybody that's a champion at 126 pounds. So just to remind you, some of the guys who are at 126 pounds, and not to mention that Bruce Carrington is an interim champ. So at that weight class right now is stacked. And if he wanted to move a step below or a step up, this is what that would have looked like at 122 pounds. All know that he's not beating none of those guys on that list. It's not a chance in a Jamaican tank top. Prior to analyzing Bernie the boxer and his opponents, first you got to take into account that he's never went 8 rounds, 6 rounds, 10 rounds, or 12 rounds. First fight at 126 pounds was against a guy named Jesus Velasquez, who had already fought 5 times and hadn't won a single bout. His second bout was against a guy named Heath Klein. As you can see, he was 0-1, meaning he hadn't won a single bout. So at that point in time, he had fought 2 fighters who hadn't won a single bout. Check this out. Third and final bout was against a guy named Brian Timmons, who had came in on fight night with a whopping 2 wins and 2 losses. Prior to fighting Bernie the boxer, he had already been stopped once before. It's important to take into consideration why. Because he often speaks very badly about these guys who are at a top level, who are fighting at a top level, and who are competing at a top level. Before we jump into this video, I really want y'all to understand that when you disrespect the fans, when you disrespect the people who support the fighters that you're associated with, it's not a good look. Especially when those fans, those subscribers, those watchers are doing a better job promoting their fighters than you. Bernie the boxer is about to be 45 years old. And he's officially reached OG status. Now, his opinion to a young fighter can matter. Why? Because he's affiliated with top athletes. Was he a top athlete? No. But he's affiliated with those guys. When we look at it from that standpoint, all he does is get on these platforms and bash these young and up-and-coming fighters. These guys who haven't really started their career. 21, 22, 23, 26, 27, 28. These guys haven't really started their career. Crawford didn't start making real deal money until a few years ago. And a few years ago for Crawford, he wasn't 20-something years old. This video on what he had to say about Haney, considering he's 45 years old, has never accomplished anything in the sport, and he's not a top priority for none of the guys that he's affiliated with. Check this video out real quick.
I don't like Devin Haney. I told you. He gay. Wearing his fucking blonde, his fucking hair. Like he said, they worrying about his fucking clothes. He don't got no substance to me. That's why I don't like Devin. And his style is boring as fuck. He not excited.
Right? Now that we got all that in perspective, let's take Jake Paul for an example to see who is more of a boxer. Jake Paul has never fought a 4-round fight. I'm going to say that one more time. Jake Paul, the fake fighter. Not Jake Paul, the boxer. Jake Paul, the YouTube star, right? He has never fought a 4-round fight. Jake Paul has more names, give it they old, young, past their prime, than Bernie. And like I said before, Bernie has never ever fought on a world stage. Check this out. Now, we've compared Bernie, the real boxer, against Jake Paul, the fake boxer, right? So now let's dive into Bernie's box rec. We mentioned before at the beginning of the video, right? His first opponent was Jesus Velasquez. Let's check and see, what his career amounted to, being Bernie's first opponent. You have it, ladies and gentlemen. When he fought Bernie, he had never won a fight. And when he retired from the sport, he had never won a fight. In fact, he had never won a fight and had been stopped 4 times. We move on to his second opponent. And I want y'all to keep in mind that this guy talked like he's accomplished in the sport. Like he's won some belts, like he's competed against some guys. And, let's check on the second opponent. His second opponent had never won a fight prior to facing him. And lo and behold, at the end of his career, guess what? Can you guess? He's never won a fight. We got Brian Timmons. We got Bernie's, his last opponent. This was the opponent he retired undefeated on. So I just want y'all to check this out real quick. When Bernie fought this guy as his last fight before he retired, before he became inactive, right? When he fought this guy was 2-2. I'm gonna show y'all again. Again, this is his last opponent. His third and final opponent had been stopped at the end of his career 11 times. When he fought this guy, he was 2-2. His third and final opponent had been stopped at the end of his career 11 times. When he fought this guy, he was 2-2. Well, the story is you got to take everything that this guy says with a grain of salt. Oftentimes, me hearing him, it didn't even sound like he believed what he was saying, right? So just make sure, you qualify these guys when these guys getting on here disrespecting fans, because the fans, at the end of the day, is who put money in these guys' pockets, right? These subscribers, these viewers. And like I said before, the people that he's disrespecting on here do a better job of promoting his fighters than he does. Man, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? I'm out.